week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Coming to you from uncharacteristic studios inside my humble abode. And I want to thank everyone for all the positive feedback that I got with the studio. There are a lot of things that I'm going to add on in the coming episodes. I have a few things in mind, but if y'all have anything in mind, please feel free to let me know. This is a fan-friendly show, and I tend to keep it that way. Really excited because in just over 2 weeks, GeekCon is coming back to Shreveport, and I will be there. And if y'all are coming out, hope to see y'all there. And I'm working on getting some interviews with folks. I'm going to do something a little different. In years past, I would just literally come up to folks and I would, some of the guests, and I would ask them, they get kind of put off by that. Some get put off, some are like, sure, come on. But, that's very unprofessional of me to not let them know ahead of time, because, these folks are, you just have to do right by folks. You have to do right by those folks. You can't just say, oh, hey, can I do this? No, you can do. No, you can't do that. You just can't. By asking them, I kind of feel that that's a sign of respect, and I'm a very respectful person. But anyway, it's time to give away a free T-shirt. Alright, last week's episode I asked, what is the name, or the nickname rather, that Kilowog of the Green Lantern Corps has for everyone? Well, the correct answer is Poozer. 7 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their names have been entered in a drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is David Mason. Now this is someone who watched and answered directly from YouTube. So congratulations, David. You win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. Alright, here's the question for next week's episode, and this is an X-Men question. Which U.S. state are Kitty, Pryde, and Beast of the X-Men from? Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee in next week's episode of the show. So, I gotta ask, any questions?
Questions I walk around in. Questions I can thrive in. Questions I will survive in. Questions.
Alright, I have 2 questions for this week, and the first question is from Michael England from Bossier City, Louisiana. He asked, with the tremendous success of the most recent Avengers movie and the swirling rumors about the actors in starring roles such as Chris Evans not returning to the franchise, where do you see Disney and Marvel taking the Avengers series into the future? Well, Michael, that's a very, very good question, because there have been a lot of actors that have they've wanted to. Like Chris Evans says that because he started playing the role of Captain America back in 2011, and before that, he played the role of another Marvel character, the Human Torch. But Marvel decided to do away, or should I say 20th Century Fox decided to do away with that lineup, or that cast of the Fantastic Four, and come out with that other, pathetic cast. But then when you play but like I said, he's played the role of Captain America since 2011. He's been in a good chunk of Marvel movies since then. He's been in Captain America: The First Avenger. He's been in Avengers. He made a brief hilarious cameo in Thor: The Dark World. He was in Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, and then most recently, Avengers Infinity War, which is actually coming out on Blu-ray and DVD in a few weeks. Even though I've already gone out to see it, I'll definitely buy. What they're probably going to do, they're not going to recast, because no one played that role like he did. They're probably going to take the comic route and probably kill him off. Now, I'm not saying whether it's going to be in the next Avengers movie, which is slated to come out next year. It may be a little further than that, but you know, Marvel actually killed him off a few times. But the most memorable one was when they killed him off right after the events of Civil War, where he was murdered by Sharon Carter, who was under the mind control of the Red Skull. And then they had Bucky take on the mantle of Captain America. And then there was another time where he wasn't killed off. However, this character called the Nail ended up siphoning all the super soldier serum that was in his DNA and made him old. And then Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, took on the mantle. Now, they may make him old, they may kill him off, I don't know. But when an actor, in a certain situation, in a situation like that, when an actor says that they want out of the contract, especially somebody who is the pedigree of Chris Evans, who, you know, a lot of times they'll probably honor his decision, and then they probably will cast anyone else. So there you go. I think they may either kill him off or they may do what I was talking about before. But yeah. All right. The next question is from another Mike Hart from Monroe, Louisiana. He asked, "Why do you think Steve Ditko quit at the height of his success or his career?" Well, Mike, I honestly, here's what I think. Now, right after the creation of Spider-Man, when he and Stan Lee created Spider-Man, they had a lot of spats over creative directions. I mean, there was creative differences. One of them was the identity of the Green Goblin. Stan Lee wanted it to be Norman Osborn. Ditko didn't. So I think, so when his contract ended, when Ditko's contract ended, he pretty much went into hiding for years. And they didn't, and he and Stan Lee didn't speak for decades. They didn't speak until probably about 11 years ago, when Ditko had showed up at the over at Marvel Comics in New York. But I think he quit because, you know, the character Spider-Man pretty much it's loosely based on Ditko's life. I mean, Ditko based it loosely on his own life. I mean, he has a lot of personal problems. He's being stretched beyond. He was always stretched beyond means and all that. And with his contract, with all the creative differences, with all the creative differences between him and Lee, and then his contract ending, I guess it kind of broke him. But here's my whole thing about that. When adversity comes, you can either choose fight or flight. And it doesn't really matter who you are. Choosing flight is the worst thing you could ever do. Well, that is unless you're Jack Kirby. He went on to DC and created the new gods. So, but yeah, but a lot of times, whenever you're in the face of adversity, don't give up so easily. Not a good idea. All right, that's it for any questions. If you have any questions that you want to answer, that you want me to ask and answer on the show, just let me know. I mean, this used to be a permanent segment years ago. I had to stop because there weren't really anyone that was asking questions, but those questions that I just asked and answered, those are very good questions that I would love to make this a permanent segment. You know, kind of think of it. It is a permanent segment. But anyway, have any questions? Keep them coming. All right, now Jerome Godin from Hesperia, California has requested a Comic Heroes Throwdown Showdown fight. And this one is another one that features a comics character going up against a video game character. Representing Marvel, we have Daredevil. And representing Killer Instinct, we have Jago. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call
The Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today is Daredevil versus Jago. Daredevil possesses superhuman senses, including a radar sense, is a skilled hand-to-hand combatant, and utilization of a specially designed club. Jago fights using mostly kung fu moves, although he does resort to some more brutish untrained blows, especially when wielding his signature katana/kora. He can also channel the power of the Tiger Spirit to charge his attacks with golden light and unleash a powerful Indokuken fireball. Who will win? This fight would start out with hand-to-hand combat. This fight would be neck and neck until Jago decides to play dirty. This proves to be unsuccessful because Daredevil's radar sense will allow him to easily catch on to Jago's every move. Jago then decides to use his katana/kora against Daredevil. After taking a swing at Daredevil, the latter pulls out his club. Jago tries to take another swing, but Daredevil blocks it with his club and snatches it from his hand. Jago is left with no other choice but to channel his Tiger Spirit. Just as Daredevil goes on offense, Jago teleports behind him. Daredevil tries to avert him, but Jago does so with such quickness that Daredevil couldn't catch him in time. Jago immediately ends the fight by dousing Daredevil with an Indokuken fireball. Jago wins. And that concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown.
Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that fight. If you have fight requests for future episodes, contact info is down there. Alright, now it's time for Comic Week Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Alright, there's only going to be one thing I'm going to talk about in this segment of Comic Week Speaking, and that's Marvel acquiring the rights to X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four. This just happened last week. Disney made an agreement with 20th Century Fox to acquire rights to all these characters, and, as opposed to being in association with them, which is what they've been doing for ever since Marvel Studios really, got established 10 years ago. And now finally, they're all under one roof. And all I have to say is, it's about dadgum time. This is a great move because here's my thing. Marvel Studios should have had this done a long time ago. And because here's the thing, you can't let other movie studios do your work for you, and only you be in association with that. Warner Brothers. The only reason that they and DC team up is because they've been under the same roof since 1989. With Time Warner and all that. But now there really is no more Time Warner, or AOL Time Warner as it was called in its latter days, because Warner Brothers pretty much owns the rights to DC now. Warner Brothers is his own company. It's not Time Warner anymore. And Marvel should have had this done when Marvel Studios was established 10 years ago. Because throughout the entire time they've been doing this, it's like they've been alienating or playing favorites. Because you had X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four that were still left behind over with 20th Century Fox, and then you had Spider-Man that was left behind over at Columbia, which, by the way, Marvel just acquired the rights to the 20th century. Just acquired the rights to Spider-Man, and really they did this 2 years ago in Captain America: Civil War. And I think they recently acquired the rights to the Incredible Hulk, because for the longest time, the Incredible Hulk, the media rights had been with with Universal Studios. Here's the thing. The media rights to the Incredible Hulk media rights were with Universal Studios since 1977. I mean, you have to go all the way back to when, you know, the TV series that Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno starred in, that was on CBS from 77 through 82. And then, even though CBS lost the rights to the Incredible Hulk and forked them over to NBC the very next day, which resulted in Incredible Hulk animated series that came on Saturday mornings that ran for 2 seasons. And then a few years later, when NBC came out with the the 3 made-for-TV movies, Incredible Hulk TV movies that ran in 88, 89, and 90. I mean, even after all that, Universal Studios still had the media rights to the Incredible Hulk, and Disney just acquired those rights a few years ago. But this is the right move. It's been a long time coming, and it's finally over. X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool are now in Marvel Studios. So go Marvel. Alright, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Alright, first up is Astonishing X-Men number 8. Astonishing X-Men number 9. Astonishing X-Men number 10. Astonishing X-Men number 11. Astonishing X-Men number 12. Astonishing X-Men number 13. Avengers number 3. Black Panther number 1. Aquaman number 38. Wonder Woman number 51. Venom number 4. Teen Titans number 20. X-Men Blue number 32. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 49. Amazing Spider-Man number 2. Action Comics number 1001. Detective Comics number 985. Marvel 2-in-1 number 8. Multiple Man number 1. Justice League Dark number 1. I'm sorry. This is Multiple Man number 2. I'm sorry. I just realized that this is number 2. I already bought number 1. Justice League Dark number 1. And finally, The Flash, number 51. Alright, that's 21, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 8,808. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. Which U.S. state are Kitty Pryde and Beasts of the X-Men from? Now, here are a few hints. Bonnie Hunt, John Belushi, and Jim Belushi are all from this state. A certain sports franchise won 6 championships in all in one decade that are in this state. And another sports franchise won their first championship in over 100 years that's located in the state. Everyone who answers correctly will be in a drawing for a free tee in next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to David Mason who won a free tee in this one. Like I said, GeekCon is in a few weeks. I'll be there. I hope to see some of y'all there. I'm going to try to get some interviews with folks. Really looking forward to it. With me finally, with me being just under 200 away from 9,000, the road to 9,000 has just begun. Now, the way I buy comics, now the way I do it, or I've been doing it recently, I've been having to do a lot of catching up, and that's not in terms of reading, that's usually in terms of buying. I don't read every book that comes out. There are certain books that I read. I read mostly DC and Marvel, but then there are other publications that I may sink my teeth into. I may not do it next month. I may not do it in the next 2 months. I may not even do it for the rest of this calendar year. 192, that's still a lot of books. And I don't know. It's going to happen, though. It's going to happen. If y'all have any suggestions y'all want to make for the show, anything to do with the studio, please let me know. Unless it's tasteless and very constructive, I only take constructive things that'll. If you're going to say, oh, just stop doing the show, I'm not going to listen to you, because I love doing the show, and I'll be darned if I'm going to let somebody discourage me otherwise. That's not what I'm about. I'll listen to you if it's positive, but I won't listen to you if it's negative. I'll say that. Alright, I'm Victor Nolly on a Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 223. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero!